The following preview has not been approved for all audiences. Oh, this is an old trailer for a one-man film called Flooding with Love for the Kid.
I don't want a kid who looks like you and doesn't have a job in my town. There's something wrong with you? It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. I never saw anything like it. Champs-Élysées, who you been calling cocksucker? He gave up 3 years to enlist in a war that was supposed to help his country, and the only trade he came out with is how to kill. Where was he supposed to get a job that needed experience like that? Is that what you brought us after? A war hero? A fucking Green Beret? We forced him into it over there. Now he's bringing it all back home. She didn't answer me. Oh, what this kid do to you? This is a court of law. You're not coming back, are you? I don't hate him. Everybody's got to go through this, and everybody's still a virgin when I finish.
Flooding with Love for the Kid. Welcome to 3C Sunday. I am your host, John Ward. That is the old, that's got to be over 30 years old now. The thing that inspired me to believe it was possible to make a film or TV show as one person. It's also germane to the main subject at hand of today, Flooding with Love for the Kid. But first, let me introduce my guest today, Zeb Boykin from South Carolina. What's going on, Zeb?
How we doing today, chat?
What is going on, chat? Let me say a quick hello to you. Jones Knit, fucking excited. What's going on, Jones Knit? Mantara, always good to see you. Nico Bleeko, what's going on? Lit Fuse, JJ, Super Stitch over on Rumble. Dodger is in the house, who has made the logo you're looking at right now and much of the artwork for the show. Thank you, Dodger. We have Pictish in the Rumble chat. What is being smoked right now? Just a cigarette. Just a cigarette. Isaac Foss, what's going on? Ronald Simmons, Dwayne the Swamp. Reminder, chatters, the blue logo is 1 year members. You get the membership. That logo changes color over time. You can, as always, on 3CC send emojis. Up to 10 of them will fly across the screen. I do have a little bit of a quick update. Obviously, we have not been live the last 2 weeks, and the Deacon is not with us today. I don't want to speak too much for him because I think we will rejoin us here in the next few weeks, I hope. But he, prayers out for him. He normally does our opening prayer. He's dealing with a family situation where he finds himself at a grandfatherly age, once again responsible for raising a child. Very common problem that happens in central Pennsylvania, and I'm sure if you're in a rural area, you have a pretty good idea of what I am referring to. But he is, of course, having all of his time taken up by that. Here to support him as best we can. He was going to try to make it today, but ended up not being able to. So he will join us again as soon as he is able. But if you're willing, maybe throw out a quick prayer for the Deacon in his situation. Of course, when he's able to come back, I will let him explain more of that himself. As far as Flooding with Love for the Kid goes, of course, the censored image in your lower right thumbnail for today, this girl in Scotland, was she 12 or 14 years old, being harassed by migrants or immigrants or whatever the hell you want to call them, busts out the knife, busts out the axe. This is an actual picture that the British media used. They blurred out the handles, Zeb. Do you see that?
This is the post blur is what they actually put out.
Yeah.
The British media did.
Yeah, this was the photo.
That's pitiful, dude.
So it's in her right hand, your left. That was a knife. They blurred the little piece of handle sticking out of the bottom of both of her hands as well. But long story short is she got arrested because you're not allowed to carry butter knives in the UK. And sort of that is the main theme of today. So again, Deacon not here. It's not going to be the standard show structure. We'll try to stick to a bit of a structure. We may only go for an hour today. We may not do call-ins. We'll see. But America's no longer America. Britain is no longer Britain. Australia is no longer Australia. A lot of things going on with Trump that are not super thrilling. Elon getting involved in this, all the same familiar players. But of course, now living in a world in Britain anyway, where you pull out a butter knife to defend yourself, and you're the bad guy. So with all that being said, starting with maybe the story about the girl, Zeb. What the hell's going on?
Well, John, we have been invaded. That is exactly what is going on. We've been invaded legally and illegally. Obviously, the girl is in Scotland, and well, like you said, she's not able to brandish a butter knife. The problem is the knives. The problem is the guns. Obviously, you know, the third worlders that we're bringing over here aren't the actual problem. I think we all can recognize that, yes, they are. They are what is the problem. And you say they're not the entire problem, sure, but they're a vast majority of the problem. Why should they be a problem at all when they shouldn't even be here, right? Why are they filming a little 12-year-old, little 14-year-old girl in Scotland, regardless of what the story is? They shouldn't be there. One, two, they shouldn't be filming. They shouldn't have the boldness, the chutzpah, if you will, to film the little girl and then post it on the internet. Like, these people are shameless. They're shameless and they are harassing this little girl. They shouldn't be there. Whatever the scenario is, I don't care anymore.
Well said, man. It's fucking it's getting emotional out there. This specific story is sort of a smaller version of and I'm leaving the chat up here for a second. Get your thoughts out there, blow off some steam. I think we all need to. Remember, we're fuck you, Joe Booing. I do it myself. Well, I'll explain that in a letter. Zeb didn't even know what that meant. But it's not just Britain and Scotland and Ireland this is happening in. Australia just had a big movement to ban all further immigrants. These are all groundswell, regular people. Nobody with actual political control or anything like that. And so the migrants keep coming in. But my understanding, I think it was an Elon tweet, maybe even from today, but your life in Europe right now and the UK is you go to work, you pay 50% of the money you make to taxes to your government. The government takes that money and uses it to import a bunch of people that threaten and kill you and make your housing more expensive and your schooling shittier, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those are just the facts now. And then, of course, Europe is heavily propagandized, kind of like Canada is to believe that, well, at least we're not those dirty racist Americans. And so they slowly boil in their pot of water.
Yeah, I don't know if you even noticed the earlier today, there was a tweet, I think it was from the New York Post, that said you can't swim here anymore because the fecal matter is too high in parts per million at some beach, some random beach. I don't even remember exactly what it was, but it's like this: you import the third world, you get the third world. I mean, this is exactly what you're doing, but in this case, you give them cell phones, you give them housing, right? I don't know if you've seen the Section 8 housing, right? We're giving the Section 8 housing. But the problem is when it all boils down to is the kids, right? We have the trans shooter at the Catholic school the other day. The kids are the ones that are going to take the brunt of this, right? Because I can protect myself. My wife loosely can protect herself, but our children can't, and they're going to be exposed to this, just like the girl over in Scotland. I remember when I was little, when I was running around, I don't know, like 10, 11, 12, 14 years old, we were riding bikes around the city. Like, no one cared. And that wasn't even that long ago. What, 15 years ago? So we've gone from what is America from like 10, 15 years ago to it's basically non-existent now. Like, you've been completely usurped and invaded at the same time. We're getting it from all angles, John.
I'm just pulling up all these many, many stories as you're talking.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
What? I mean, that's just from this week, man. I mean, we could go on and on and on. It's constant,
Well, I
and
mean,
it's like this. They ask the question of, what does that have to do with you? How does that impact your daily life? Well, I can't send my wife to Walmart. I mean, I pulled up a video this past week. It was either Monday or Tuesday. Literally, the Walmart that we go to, they were jumping Walmart employees. They were lynching Walmart employees, and they couldn't do anything about it. But as soon as they did do something about it, John, you know what happens?
here you go,
The
Zeb.
people that try to prevent it go to. That's
Yeah,
awful, dude.
right. Yeah. So again, I wasn't joking. From the BBC, the British broad, you're legally obligated to pay for this. Police issue misinformation warning. Oh yeah, this is a problem. This story. Don't spread misinformation. That's the headline. Fuck me. Thousands attend Australia anti-immigration rallies. Neo-Nazis and politicians among protesters. Thousands marched against immigrants. Reuters. This is happening everywhere. And then, like, again, this girl, not in our mainstream media at all. Not at all. Nobody is reporting that there's huge protests in Australia, huge protests in England, huge protests in Scotland, huge protests in Ireland.
Yeah, have you seen the I guess it's England where they were painting the Red Cross all over the place?
St. George's Cross, sure.
Yeah, St. George's Cross all over the place, dude. Somebody doctored it up into a swastika and tried to play it as that on Twitter, and he got called out on it. But that's what these people do. They don't actually care.
Yes, it
it's
has
just like the baby.
this vague it's a vertical line and a horizontal line. That must be a swastika.
Yeah, well, they added the arms to it, the third arm to the cross, and like a swastika. But that's what these people are. The same with the BBC. They would have never covered this story if it wouldn't have got the traction. The only reason they did cover the story is because it was quote unquote disinformation, right? So they had to correct the record. But in reality, if it was accurate or whatever, they would have never covered it in the first place.
Quickly, the story, if you don't know, this is a very vastly popular story in England, fairy tale, I guess, if you will, a little didactic parable. I actually read this quite a bit growing up myself. I don't know if it was my white culture or whatever, but the whole idea of St. George and the dragon is there's this dragon that is terrorizing regular people, demanding the sacrifice of the princess in order to stop. They are going to sacrifice the princess, which is symbolic of sacrificing your kids, your children, etc. You see the overlap here that I'm getting at. And then St. George slays the dragon, and all is well again. There's G.K. Chesterton, who I talk about a lot, has great quotes on this, but here's one of them. One of the eternal paradoxes of human politics is the fact that it is only the man who is brave enough to challenge dragons who can discover that they are only lizards, which I think is fairly accurate right now. And then also, well, it's Reddit, but fairy tales do not tell children that dragons exist. Children already know that dragons exist. Fairy tales tell children that the dragons can be killed. And so, again, girl in Scotland holding the action knife.
Yeah, I mean, it's very reminiscent of kind of a Jordan Peterson type parable, if you will.
This girl. Little St. Georgette there, maybe. I don't know, Zeb, but
Be careful, John. You might get kicked from YouTube for
Fuck it, man.
wielding weapons on stream.
fuck. Well, it's blurred out there. Yeah, yeah. We're all safe now. You're making a reference to yourself. You want to fill us in on that fun little detail?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So we were streaming obviously the trainee. I don't know if that's probably a bad word. It's probably that's probably why we actually got banned. But we got a 48-hour suspension from YouTube because we were streaming. We were watching the video that the Catholic shooter put out. Along with, I mean, we were just doing the same thing everybody else was doing. Like, namely, Brandon Tatum was streaming almost in sync with us. Same video, same everything. We got the strike. And take a look at his channel, wait on it to get struck. It never happens. You know what happens the next day? He's got a media seat at the White House. But this is the problem. They want to gatekeep the people that'll push the Jew narrative. They want to they want to push against the anti-Semitism, and what they do is they take away the people that will push against it.
Did you see, somewhat on topic, but so there was this, of course, horrific, ridiculous, fucking pissing me off tranny shooting of the church in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then so the government is now handing out $100 million of grants for these religious organizations to protect themselves. And
Religious organizations.
so they gave money to 600 organizations, and 500 of them were Jewish.
Yeah, I think it was 512.
After an attack on a Christian church.
Somebody, and then somebody in that same comment section asked Grok how many Catholic churches have been attacked and how many Jewish synagogues have been attacked in the last 5 years, and they were like 27 Catholic churches attacked with major incidences and 0 Jewish synagogues attacked.
It's like every
with,
day, man.
major
It's shooter here, shooter there. Guy saves everybody by hitting him with his truck. That wasn't that long ago.
Well, yeah, and chat may be like, well, why is that? Why would they do that? Why would they send the money everywhere? If your worldview doesn't capture the idea that America is a sponge to be squeezed and get every little drop out into a let's say east of the Mediterranean, then you're going to be confused all the time. It must contain that concept, and as soon as you get there, then you just can't unsee it. Welcome to the JQ, boys.
They don't fundamentally see themselves as an American, and so you're right. They're it's like going in a fucking Walmart and stealing all the goddamn shit. It's Circle Jerk 3cc. Zeb's wife got one too many mustache rides and died from dehydration. Good of you to have her join us in the rear seat. Also, fuck Anderson Cooper. Holy fuck, that's become a running joke. We gotta wrap up the show today. Anderson Cooper's coming on. Sorry, Circle Jerk. So appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. I'll chug a beer just for fun at some point. How about that? We got to light up Joe Boo here too. I didn't explain any of that, but yeah, it's just looting. It's a short-term gain. In the long term, the whole world will be India, is kind of my guess. That seems to be where this is all heading, and there'll be this perpetual foundation myth of the white gods. And they'll all be living in these private, hyper-modern estates, fly in on their hovercraft, get worshipped a little bit, fly back off. I mean, I feel like there's a serious chance that human history from now into the future will devolve into this retarded continent of Africa level myth and cargo cultism.
Yeah, well, we kind of talked about that the other day, where Lord of the Reed, before we even started this, asked how late I'm gonna be. I'm never late. See, I'm on African time. The future doesn't actually exist, and so I don't know if you saw that video.
Holy shit! Yes, I did.
She was trying to explain how time works in Africa.
Let me see if I can find that.
She was trying to explain how time works in Africa, and basically there is no future. Time doesn't. There is no time unless there is action.
Thank you, Isaac Foss. No comment, but thank you. Go ahead, Zeb. Sorry.
And so everything in the past is basically a conglomerate, and this is what I was trying to extrapolate, is that they were kings in their own mind because everything is theirs in the past, if that makes sense. There's no differentiation between themselves now and themselves in the past and themselves in the future. This is kind of the 4chan copy pasta. I'm sure you've seen that too, right? The 15-second.
Oh, here we go.
African.
I found it, Zeb.
Brutal.
The concept of the future doesn't exist, and that instead of time moving forwards, time actually moves backwards. This was the work of John Mbiti, one of Kenya's and Africa's greatest philosophers, and in 1969, he wrote something that completely reimagines the way we think of African time. Mbiti says time is a two-dimensional phenomenon with a long past, vibrant present, and virtually no future. Using Swahili words, he describes the two dimensions of time. The first one being sasa, the now, the recent past, and the immediate future, which can be experienced. The second dimension is zamani.
Zamani
is the vast, endless past where all events eventually go on to live.
Zamani. Sasa.
The future in African thought, it barely exists because time is made up of events. Time has to be experienced.
The future doesn't exist because time is made up of events. Can you extract any meaning out of that sentence, Zeb?
Yeah, I actually can. And so I was watching a interview that a guy named Adam on he runs Curious
Speaking of
Christianity.
Africa, while you talk, I'm gonna light up Joe.
He runs Curious Christianity on YouTube. He had an interview with a guy that basically posed the exact same thing, and I tried to communicate with him that what he's saying doesn't make sense. Like, I can't understand it. And in the same vein, he articulated a lot better, but in the same vein as they try to extrapolate, time isn't a constant. Time is essentially God, and so it is a piece of God, an aspect of God, and in this concept, the future doesn't exist. Only action defines time. Only what you do defines time, and if you just sit there, time doesn't actually exist. And so I tried to think about this and understand how does that work? Do they not have like action in their mind? And I think that's what I came to, is that they have no sitting constant thoughts. Like, they have no inner monologue, one, but two, they have no thoughts unless the action is happening in itself. Does that make sense? So in their concept of time, it
I was
necessitates.
gonna say no, it does. I mean, what you're saying makes sense, but that position does not make sense.
No, the position doesn't make sense. But the only way to make sense.
Hold
of
on,
the
this
position
fucking
is-
idiot. I gotta light him again. Keep going.
Yeah, the only way it would make sense is that if, when they are not acting, there is no process of thought in their mind. And so that's how I got there. But then on top of that, they say the past is essentially a conglomerate of everything that has ever happened. And so when they say we was kings, that in their mind they were, because there is no separation of.
Because it's Zamani, bro.
Dude.
Are they Sasa kings or Zamani kings?
She was so proud of it too, man. She was so proud of her African philosophers.
I'm starting to realize this pattern. It's like, just make up fucking words, and then just like that. I'm just gonna have my own like white African theory of time, and I'll be like, there's a vast, endless space called Shigabuku.
They'll worship you, dude.
And
do it.
It's literally how like I feel like I maybe have a chance. I should give it a shot. In a past life, Zeb, those weird like white god carvings they find in like Mesoamerica and shit, that was like one of my ancestors, I feel like was fucking
King John the First. Let's go, dude.
got in a fight back in Ireland or something and fucked off in a rowboat, ended up in Polynesia. So yeah, I have brought fire.
But yeah, I mean, these are the people that are being imported, and what I would just like to add that
huge, serious, scary thing going on there. Aside from the
I would just like to add that, I mean, even if you import them and then you quote unquote assimilate them into society, it's not even an IQ issue necessarily. It's that a lot of this would be filed under epigenetics, and this is a thing that you can't just get out from having a child and bringing them up in a Western civilization. These things, these demon worshiping concepts, they go with you, right? If we import a bunch of demon worshipers, the demons are coming too, John. They're coming too.
It's like fucking fleas on a rat, Zeb.
Yeah, I mean, you can't separate the two. I mean, if you want to help these people, you have to help them where they are. You can't bring them here and what's it? Don't argue with a retard. It'll bring you down to your level and beat you with experience. That's exactly what's happening to the West. We're not helping them. We're just destroying everything that has already been created by our ancestors.
There's another similar Chesterton quote. This reminds me of specifically about pornography, but it's relative to immigration. Pornography is not something to be argued about with one's mind. It's something to be stamped on with one's heel. And I was like, that's a good way of saying it. There's some of these things that we're like, we're not having a debate about this anymore.
Well, that's exactly. We had a podcast with Woman Propaganda. I'm sure y'all have heard of him. Is Hayden McDougall on Instagram. He's pretty big. We had a impromptu live stream with him this weekend, and basically he said the same thing. He was paired, and I think Sam Hyde kind of got this ball rolling. Is that the time for conversation is over? The time for debate is over with the vast majority of these issues. And like, just take one aspect, for example, COVID. If people aren't convinced of the COVID conspiracy now, they're done for. There's no convincing them of anything else, right? That's the most obvious psyop there has been in recent history. And if they can't understand that, then there is no discussion on immigration, or what is America, or what is the West, or what is Europe, or any of these aspects that are relevant to today's discussion. The time for discussion is over, man. You have been invaded. You have 12 and 14-year-old girls out there fighting for their lives. The question is, are you on the side of were the Crusades okay? I think that would be a good litmus test. Are the Crusades justified? And if you agree that they're justified, then you're on my side, and we can move on from there. And if you don't, then well, I mean, at this point, you're an enemy, essentially.
Do you feel like the Crusades were a choice?
Well, I mean, if the choice is death or rape, then sure.
That's what I mean. I would say that would make it not really a choice. It might seem like it was a choice for conquest. And these things are all complicated because there was certainly people involved in the Crusades who were not there for holy reasons.
Sure.
But that's true of anything.
Sure.
But I think
it's like,
yeah, go ahead.
the question you ask is, there was a video of a goat jumping into a chimney fire. A fireplace fire, and somebody says, why would he do that? And my comment was, well, some things are worse than death, right? And I think that's the back end of the Crusades. Now, that's not saying I'm not entirely opposed to an offensive war, but the Crusades were completely a defensive war. And I think right now, if we enacted, as we should, because everybody's using the rhetoric of being invaded, then this is a war, and it would be defensive if we were allowed to do that.
One of these you had very elegantly worked in the question of what is the problem and into your discussion earlier, but fucking had a point there. Crusade things. Come on, Zeb, read my mind.
Where are we at? What was the question?
I think I might have been reading the chat and got zoomed out. I don't fucking know. You had said, what is the problem? It was very well said. Okay. No, it's come back to me. Part of that. It's been a rough few weeks, man. Part of that. I think something I've been pushing on people to notice is that I believe what has happened, this is my opinion, so I'll say that, but what is happening now, kind of like you said, is society's evolved to this point and maybe get to a certain size, or maybe both, where quite obviously there's a group at one end of a spectrum, and maybe you call it IQ, maybe you call it disagreeableness, or both of those or something, but individualistic people who start to realize, like, this society is not really helping me survive anymore. I don't need any of this. I don't need any of these people's help. I would be better off if that all went away and I remade society in a smarter way. But then you have probably the majority of people who are rationally better. Like, all these NPCs are rational to support the system that allows them to survive and thrive. Like, some fucking 90 IQ dude's not going to try to take down academia when he's a fucking PhD at 90 IQ. Like, that's his utopia he's living in.
Yeah. Well, this is exactly what I try to tell my chat, and I'm going to bring up Sam Hyde again here in a second. He's just doing so much good work right now. Here's what I try to tell my chat is that you don't have to be the smartest one in the room. We don't need that. What we need is people to play roles, right? And so if we're going to usurp the system, if you will, go infiltrate the system, that, some of us, that's just not in our nature, right? It's not in the white man's nature to infiltrate, right? We conquer. These are two different things. And so you have to have, everybody plays a role in kind of moving this needle forward and kicking the ball in the goal, whatever the goal may be, would be to, I guess, get our country back. And I think Sam Hyde put out a video yesterday, and I watched it last night. It's called Flat Earth. That's like episode 7 or something. It's called Flat Earth. And the point he made in that video, it wasn't to promote Flat Earth necessarily, or to say that the Earth is a globe or the Earth is flat. The point he made in the video, and I'm going to extremely summarize here, because it's too complex for some of these people to get. I was arguing with them on Twitter, and like, you don't get it. You don't understand Flat Earth. And I was like, dude, First of all, I could probably argue a flat Earth better than most of these people can. I'm not a flat earther. I don't understand. I don't understand where we went wrong. I'm not a glober either, to be honest with you. I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't care. But I think that's the point that he was trying to get is
Are you a
there's this.
Are you a dodecahedrist?
I think we're in a donut, dude. It's a
torus?
torus field. Sure. I mean, it's irrelevant to the question, but basically the question is,
I don't care either.
are you willing to question the most fundamental aspect of society? Are you willing to question and come to your own conclusions that maybe I was lied to? And I think that's what he was trying to get at, is that not necessarily that you need to accept flat Earth or flat Earth is real or the globe is real or we're flying through space at 66 million miles an hour or whatever. What he's trying to get at is that you have to question the fundamental reality of what's actually going on right now. Otherwise, what use are you to us? You're just, like you said, these NPCs, they're on autopilot.
Well,
if you're not able
yeah,
to question
your
where
use
you're
shifts
going,
from
you're useless.
moving the football forward to
Yes.
perpetuating the oppressive system. That's where you now have use. Your only use.
Sure.
If you're fucking retarded, then your only use is to perpetuate the garden of the
status quo.
garden
Yep.
of the retarded gods.
And in that same vein, it's like, yeah, I mean, does it matter? Not really. I mean, you could argue probably so. But the point is, what is someone's reaction to being presented with information that they may be wrong? Not that they're wrong in their assessment, it's that they never assessed and they're still wrong. That's the question. Why have you never assessed the thing that you believe wholeheartedly? And so their reaction to that is kind of what gives it away. And I would largely argue that the litmus test I presented a second ago would be the same litmus test here, right? Are you able to question the fundamental aspects of society that you've been given for the vast majority of your life, right? And this is probably goes back to, I don't know, 1950s. What do you, I mean, 70 years old, 75. So yeah. And same aspect of people that were defending the immigrants against this little girl, right? These are the dividing line, and that dividing line, or a Venn diagram, would probably be virtually a circle when all of these questions were presented to different people.
Yeah, and I didn't mean this to become the G.K. Chesterton show, but he has another very relevant quote about this, which is, the point of an open mind is to close it again on something solid. So we've gone through, like you said, this 100-year span of opening our minds. I think white people came to the New World, and Europe probably too, but they'd sort of hit a technological peak at the height of our country, where it was homogenous. Everyone was working together towards a similar national goal. I think they felt like they had won. And of course, the reality we've learned is that you never win. It's another G.K. Chesterton quote. If you want a white post, you must always be painting it white again. Because if you leave
Yes.
he says the only argument against conservatism is that you leave a white post, it doesn't stay a white post. It degrades and you need to paint it again after the winter. Blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's basically the same argument that I make for conservatism. I mean, I've been quote unquote conservative my entire life, but in the same vein of you have to keep painting the post white if you want the post to be white.
That's the thing I think we have yet to put a name to or accurately describe or maybe agree on, is that
Here you go.
we have this open, hold on, we have this open mind. What is the solution, or that to close, what is the solid thing to close it upon? What is the next step? What is the plan?
I mean, I would say, and this is the same question I posed to Charlie Kirk, same question I posed to Myron, is what is an American? I think that must be defined moving forward. I would agree with the founding fathers, and we can go over that another time. But I think, and this can be applied to Scotland. What is a Scot? What is an Irish? And these are different things than what is an American citizen and what is an American. I think these are two different things. And what is American? Like, I am American and I am an American. These are two separate things. I think that's going to be the defining factor moving forward. Are you willing to accept that this is an exclusive club? And that's what we've done. This multicultural society, this idea of a propositional nation. Go ahead.
Stacking coins, that's what I've been saying. We need to stop acting like we won the war just because we won the battle. Yeah, I think that kind of happened, maybe post World War II especially.
Yeah, and basically what I was getting at is kind of, I don't know, you can look at New York. Like I said, we were talking about earlier, New York, this is 400 years of New York City. What are we celebrating? That New York City doesn't exist anymore in the same vein, right? Not just that not just that the Jews knocked down the Twin Towers, but that I'm sorry, YouTube, don't ban John. I don't want that to be my fault. But not just that the Twin Towers are gone from the skyline, but that New York doesn't even speak English anymore. The majority of New York are non-English speakers. Not that they speak another language, that they don't speak English. This is insane. 51% of them don't speak English, and now you're going to have a very, very non-American mayor in New York, almost guaranteed. But my point to the White Post is that we're talking about the exclusivity of what is an American and all this that comes with it. It's like the idea that there's a thought that stops thought, and that's the only thought that ought to be stopped. I know it's a little bit of word twister there, but the same concept applies when it goes to when you say, if you're tolerant of the intolerant, it will consume the tolerant, right? This is the case exclusively with New York. Like we're talking about New York, we can talk about Minnesota, we can talk about all of these larger city places that have an influx of people that are intolerant. They have consumed Americans because we are tolerant, and that is a defining factor moving forward. It's like the White Post. You cannot be tolerant of the weathering of the post. It must be repainted.
Perhaps, are you familiar with like noumena versus phenomena, that distinction philosophically or physically?
That was a lot of sounds you just made at me.
So maybe this is the
noumena. Yeah.
linguistic weapons that will help us define what is an American or what is the problem. But so this comes from Kant and people before him, honestly. But this distinction between, it's probably easier to understand in what a phenomenon is in this language anyway. But the world exists of phenomenon or phenomena plural and a noumenon or noumena plural. Phenomena or phenomenon is an experience of your senses. So if you hold up your hand in front of your face, I know I've used this example many times over the years, but it's easy to understand. And you see it and it looks, white or pink or whatever. That is a phenomenal experience. It's a sensory experience. And what you're seeing is about 350 to 750 nanometers, called the visible light spectrum. However, you're also aware that you could put your hand under an X-ray and your hand looks very fucking different. Or you could put it under infrared, looking at heat below, and then it would look very different. So the question became, and what philosophers started to ask is, well, what does your hand really look like? Because it's not any of those things, and it's all of those things. And so whatever the answer to that question is a noumenon. So you have this phenomenal experience of your hand. The X-ray one is a phenomenon.
It's like a
visible light spectrum is a phenomenon. The infrared is a phenomenon. But there is a noumenal hand that doesn't look like any of those things, but also looks like all of those things at the same time somehow, depending on how you look at it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know the parable of the five blind guys and the elephant, don't you?
Yeah, kind of
same concept,
similar like that.
Yeah.
But so I would argue, Zeb, maybe the term we need to work into this definition is you're describing a noumenal American, a thing in and of itself, something independent of sensory perception or where your feet are standing inside what geographical boundaries. Obviously, that doesn't have anything to do with it. If I walked into the Congo, I'm not Congolese, right? Despite the phenomenal appearance of being there. Stacking coins, well, it at least has a shape.
And a color.
Right. So there's that's where you separate mentally, and a color. Fuck you, man. But no, is that making a good point despite your laughter? Like there are these properties, so right, no matter what light thing you look at it with, it has this shape. But then what if you're measuring it gravitationally?
It doesn't have that shape though.
Right.
It doesn't.
Gravitationally,
So
it's got a center of mass that has this gravity well focused around that. So again, even that maybe isn't exactly true.
So there are some lenses that you can look at. I don't know if you've seen the X-ray shots of a leaf after you cut it off, and it shows the leftover effects of it. There are some lenses that you can apply and look through it, and it'll give you essentially the aura that is extensive from the body in itself.
Circle jerk. I am Jamaican from the waist down. I respect it. I respect it. Strong argument. Seems like something somebody might be lying about on the internet. No, I'm kidding.
No, nobody would lie on the internet, John. But I guess I think me and you would.
Well, so I think that's what makes it difficult to answer what is an American. It's that implicitly there's these two things. So phenomenal.
I think we can get it closer real quick, and I think me and you would probably disagree on this, and which is fine. When we can disagree for a little while, eventually you'll come over to my side. But when I asked, I've asked a few people this, some relatively high profile people, like I said, Charlie Kirk, and I've covered this on my podcast too. Was that Charlie Kirk wanted to define what an American is by defining what American is not, and that doesn't get you anywhere. Like, everybody knows what American is not, and I would argue that everybody knows what an American is just by looking at them. But in that same answer to the question, Kirk says he qualifies his own Americanism by saying that his family has been here since the 1920s. And so that is something that has been replicated multiple times over by people that aren't willing to say what an American is, but they'll define what an American is not, and then qualify their own Americanism by my family has been here since X. My family has been here since X. And so this is the problem. People aren't willing to actually hurt someone's feelings, right? It's all I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. It's like, at the end of the day, we have to be exclusive, and it's okay. We can accept that there is a difference between an American and an American citizen.
Yes, that's what I mean. So an American citizen, I would say, is a phenomenal American. And you sort of need to define that for legal purposes and all those sorts of things. There needs to be a legal or phenomenal definition, but that still doesn't, clearly you can game. So this was the kind of hole we managed to poke in the logic, and I actually wanted to put this question to you because I think you would argue against it. So there's some number of generations your family could have been here physically for, that the longer that is, the more American you are, right?
Yes.
And I agree with that logic on the surface. Now, what if and I'll choose Jewish family for you to make it particularly difficult. What if they came here 200 years ago, have been here for, say, more generations than your family has, but they came here with a mission to subvert the white culture, and they've always been working on that in secret despite being here for 200 years. Are they American?
Well, you picked Jew for a reason. I don't believe Jews can be anything other than a Jew. They are a nomadic people.
So then ignore that part and just say, or even reverse the.
I'll get to it.
Say you get hired by the U.S. Special Forces to infiltrate Japan, and you go there and you pretend to be Japanese for the next 10 generations of your family. Are you Japanese? I would say obviously not. You're literally an American sent there to subvert.
It would depend on who we married into, right? So we could
saying that this subversive mission was passed down your family and you all stayed.
See, I don't think that necessarily disqualifies one as being Japanese or even American. I think it is extremely largely genetic, and if you want to apply multiple generations, then we would have to, because once you apply an intent to the qualifier, it's literally impossible. You'll never get to a definition, because
what you yourself said that if you import demon worshipers, you import the demons.
Correct.
So you can't separate the two.
Well, you can't. Here's
the demon worshiper is the person, and the intent is the demon.
You would have to breed the demons out, essentially.
So
if I go to Japan and I'm there for 4 generations, and I marry a Japanese lady, and my children marry a Japanese lady, and their children marry a Japanese lady, I would say 3 generations would be you would be left with like 3%.
Well, right, because you don't. So right. You failed in your mission that the U.S. government gave you. But let's say you did it, or let's say the
mission could still be there.
Let's say they sent 10 families that are all white, and you guys intermarried each other for 10 generations. and you
That's the
all
problem.
secretly worked on together. Yeah, well, but you've been there for 10 generations. Are you
Well,
Japanese?
I would visibly not be Japanese. See, this is what we're getting at.
So do you believe that you could go there with an intent to assimilate, genuinely assimilate, but still only be white? Are you then Japanese?
Sure. No, I don't believe assimilation is even possible within a single generation. I don't even think it's possible within 2 generations.
So you would say no white person can be Japanese ever.
Correct. Ever.
It's fair. That's consistent, I would say. No matter what. Now, okay, if you intermarry with Japanese and after 10 generations, you're a mostly Japanese family, but they've all, hold on, they all, for whatever, they're all, okay, whatever, but they're Japanese fully genetically at this point, besides great-grandpa Zeb. But you've convinced them to continue this subversive mission, and that's still their intent. Are they Japanese?
I would argue yes.
How?
Because because it's a genetic aspect. It's not. I mean, intent is basically irrelevant, right? So if we take that same concept and apply it to today,
but you yourself said that you bring the demons with the demon worshippers. So the intent, you're saying there to me that the intent.
I would largely not want the demons over here, right? But to say that,
well, can the demon become American? Ever?
No.
So like that's what. You're saying intent does matter, but it also doesn't matter to whether or not you're judged as American or Japanese. You're saying intent.
Well, let's take it like this. The communists in America that have been here since the 1600s, 1620s.
Yeah, good example.
Are they American? How do you remove their Americanism? You could burn the Constitution, you could burn their American citizenship, but at the end of the day, they're still American regardless of.
Maybe that's where we've realized we disagree. So you would say 1,000 generations of a family that wants to burn down America, whether they're in Switzerland or Africa or the United States. If they're in the United States, they can be American. But if they have exactly the same mentality and culture, but are physically somewhere else, they're not. So physically being here.
Here's what I'll say.
Matters.
I would say they should be hung and burned at the stake, but they are still American.
You would say that.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think there should be an aspect of society that wants society to continue, and those that want to subvert that society, even within the society, ought to be removed from
So
it.
you're saying you do believe there's this quality called being an American that it is possible to be, and somebody that wants to destroy everything that stands for can be still considered that quality by the nature of just arbitrarily living in a physical space?
I wouldn't say it's arbitrary or I wouldn't say it's arbitrary or even the physical space necessarily. But I mean, in this aspect, it is, right? So if we create this country that is America, we come over here, there is no America. It doesn't exist.
Right.
We create it. We build it. We as in white Protestant Anglo-Saxons, WASP, built America, created the culture that comes with it, and everything over the last 400 years. Whatever the posterity is from that is American by definition, regardless of intent and thought. Now, if they're there to subvert or to destroy it from what it is, then they should be at a minimum exiled from the situation
or executed. Would you call that crime treason?
It is absolutely treason.
And so treason is an American committing a crime against America.
Yes.
I would say the second that crime occurs, that person loses their Americanhood.
Well, they would be dead.
No, I mean like
no. Well,
they're
can't.
standing there one day. They're standing there one day as an American, not committing crimes against America. They're American. The moment the crime occurs, not that they're caught for it, not that they feel guilty for it, but in this numinous world of things in themselves, even though like I'm not there to watch and nobody but them knows they even committed the crime and they themselves still believe they're American. There's this other external logic that I would say flips from that moment that person is no longer American.
See, I think that is very
like is a rapist a rapist when they get caught or when they commit the rape? At which point do they become a rapist?
Well, obviously when it occurs, but I think these are two separate things, right? You're talking about a thought crime with respect to and comparing that
Not
to
just
an
thinking
actual
about it. No, an action crime. An action
okay,
crime. You
an
sell
actual crime.
secrets to China. You haven't been caught yet. Nobody knows about it.
I would say they aren't an American citizen. I don't think you can.
No, see, it's the other way around. They
American,
would
but-
actually very definitely still be an American citizen if they were.
Well, if we're okay, so we're
Even
well,
when they
thank
get
you for
arrested,
exile.
they're still an American citizen. When they go to trial, they're still, when they go to jail, they're still, well, maybe it gets removed as part of the punishment, but excluding that,
yeah, I
yeah,
don't think
that-
it's something that can be
the
removed.
citizenship is this man-made thing that is awarded or taken away. I believe you're talking about something that does not get awarded or take away. It's this numinal intrinsic property of being an American, and what we can't figure out is how to define what that is. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we agree on that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the citizen part of it is the phenomenal part is all very easy for me to understand. And that's where I would agree with what you're saying is the guy that commits treason against America is phenomenally still an American. On paper, he's still an American
I
citizen.
think he's nominally still American too.
But spiritually, I guess, is he still an American? If you can you commit treason against your own country if you're spiritually from that?
Well,
country? I don't believe you physically can.
Well, you would have to be if you are to commit treason by definition, you have to still be that thing, right? I can't have a Nigerian commit treason. against
Phenomenally, yeah. You have to commit treason against America. You have to be an American citizen
Mm,
legally.
I wouldn't even call that treason.
What would you call it?
I mean, I would call
Well,
that
like
invasion.
I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure like an African can't get charged with treason against the United States. Can you? I don't. You. How can you be
Well,
charged?
they could get American citizenship.
Well, I mean, if they don't have it, I'm saying treason only
Right.
exists for that
which
legal
it
category.
is within it. Yes.
But I'm saying somebody who would commit treason is spiritually not that thing. They can't be. It's definitionally exclusive. So you cannot commit treason against your homeland or your in group is maybe the most generic way to say it. Like again, if you're a father and you beat your family, you are still phenomenally the father and leader of that family on paper. If you get arrested, they say the father committed this crime. But spiritually, assuming your wife doesn't take you back or whatever, that you're not really you're not the numinal father of that family anymore. Probably her dad becomes the father nominally, like representate. Is that, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Like, so that you asked that, are you still the father of your nuclear family if you are an evil piece of shit who beats the crap out of them? Phenomenally, yes. You're a father citizen as the law sees it. But nominally, your priest would be like, that ain't being a good father. That's not being a father at all, buddy. I think that's what we're talking about. I feel like I'm kind of maybe saying it right now. You're thinking.
I understand what you're saying. I didn't understand what you're saying. I don't know how to I don't maybe there's two aspects of phenomenal American, an American citizen and an American that is phenomenal. And then there is whatever you're chasing that I think is largely undefinable. I don't think it can be defined is the problem, right? Because you can't. Well,
that's what I mean. A
to
noumenon cannot be known. It was this philosophical category they realized had to be created because there's these unknowable things.
Well, then would you say that you would say an American citizen is a phenomenal, but would
an American
phenomenal also?
No.
These are just two aspects of
one. There's a noumenal American and a phenomenal one. That's what I would say. And the citizen.
See, I don't think that's even definable. And then chasing after that is just going to cause more problems.
No, that's the solution. I'm telling
you. We can't. I don't think it's.
Listen, Zeb.
I don't think it's possible to get there.
You're wrong.
That's fine. I can be
counterpoint.
It's like
counterpoint.
It's like
I'm right.
It's like I tell my chat, dude. It's okay to be wrong, man.
That's just how I see it.
Wrong.
That's how I see it.
I mean, I think we're close.
The fact that I'm right and you're wrong, not relevant. But I'm just letting you know.
I'm right, but if we were pushing forward, I would concede and allow your position to take hold. I would concede that. I would concede that
Ooh.
that treason would make you non-American.
Which I think that
Practically speaking, but rhetorically, I don't think you're correct. Like in practical
not
application,
more
I would be fine
logically
with
than
it.
rhetorically.
Yeah, I mean, I would, yeah. I guess in the
I don't
discussion
mean
of-
it. So I don't mean to play word games. I actually find these words very meaningful. Stacking coins. A true American is both of those things, not just one or the other. Well, actually, so I feel
that's kind of what I was getting.
I
at a
agree.
little bit.
There's this union of the two that ideally to be a true
Yeah, but you're
American.
chasing after something else.
Well, okay, here's what I would say, Zeb. But I'll try. Like, I just think this is really tricky to get at. So I'm gonna. You don't understand. You're not seeing despite having eyes. So I'm gonna speak to you in parables.
Well, I got a couple of parables
You
for
get
you too.
some dude from South Africa. It doesn't matter from where, but just picking a random place. And let's say he's white, and he's a South African citizen. He comes to you.
South Africans are white.
Okay. God damn, just every sentence I said, you got to be that little fucking faggot.
Well, it's the same question that we're arguing right now. What is an American?
No,
What
but
is a
anyway, so
South
he comes to the
African?
United States. He joins the military without becoming an American citizen yet. And in his heart, even though this is unknowable to the rest of us, he loves America, the pre-World War II culture. He believes in it. He wants to assimilate. He starts eating Big Macs and shit. He starts making sure he doesn't know any of the state capitals, all the American stuff. He gets really bad at math and reading. No, okay, but you get my point. I would say that guy has become, if he's honest in his heart of hearts, and that's what he does, and that's how he raises his family. He is not a citizen, but he is a American in and of itself. You would say no.
Nope.
You wouldn't fight with that guy in a battle.
No, and even Alexander Hamilton would agree with me. But see, here's the thing. I don't think people.
So
can
that's what I'm getting at
assimilate in
with
a singular
stacking coins
generation.
comment is that you do need, maybe you need both. So if that guy's not an American, he needs to get.
I would say his
he needs to get citizenship still. What if he gets citizenship?
I don't. Largely, I don't think the citizenship is necessarily an issue. I mean, I just place that as a piece of paper. Now, I think his children can be American.
Okay.
Whereas if
this is helpful. So if you're not born here, you can never become an American. Period.
I don't know if birth is it, but it would have to be really early on.
You don't believe
I'll
some
say
act
born.
of
Sure.
redemptive glory can earn that person a spot at the table in their own lifetime? I mean, old white European culture is very much believed in that sort of thing.
I mean, a spot at the table is different than the label American.
Yeah, it's the noumenal. It's the table under an X-ray light, Zeb.
Sure, but I wouldn't call that American. I mean, you could call it. I don't know what you would label.
How about
that.
this as a metaphor? That there's a
How about
the metaphorical seat at the table of command.
I think we could get somewhere with that. I think
You
if
have
we
people
find a
sitting
new
at
label.
it. Okay, you have 10 people sitting at it. Doesn't matter how many. You're going to have people that are sitting there physically. They are physically there. So they have a seat at the table. They are table sitters. But you're also going to have some of those that belong there and some that don't belong there. So somebody with a seat at the table who doesn't belong there, I would say is an American citizen. That's that category. It gives you a seat at the table, but you haven't really done or proven or blah, 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 blah. And then you have people sitting at the table who are sitting there, so they have the citizenship, but they also belong there. That's a true American. Now, what about someone who's sitting at the table or ought to be sitting at the table but isn't? Is that such a category? Like, I believe there has to be some sort of mobility here that rewards your genuine intent. To me, that's actually kind of fundamental to the idea of America in the first place.
How about this? You can hold a seat reserved for your children at the table. Can we get there?
So if you're not the child of a table sitter, but you do deserve to be there, that's the sacrifice. You go one generation serving the food, and then you get to sit at the table.
I think I can get there.
Okay. All right. It's defining things. That's certainly helpful. OGTLT, I identify as American just because you cut off your old citizen. It's fucking really great comment, actually. Yeah, that's a huge one too. I think an easy one for me is you can't have dual citizenship. Whatever it means to be an American, if you have another citizenship, you're not American.
I would. I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for this.
What? I'm
I'm
shocked.
gonna catch a lot of flack for this one. I mean, I don't agree with that necessarily. Because citizenship, if you want to maintain the consistency, the citizenship doesn't carry much weight in what is an American. And so I can have a citizenship to Romania, right? These are practical applications in the world that don't necessarily define you as is. And so you can buy citizenship to Taiwan. You can buy citizenship somewhere that doesn't
You
attach
can buy
you
it
to
to
the thing.
America.
You can buy it to America, exactly. And so just because you hold the thing doesn't make you that thing in itself. It's just the thing being a citizenship. It's just a piece of paper. And I know a lot of people are going to come at me about this, but quite frankly, I don't care. I don't care about the paper anymore.
Well, but
Burn it.
you would be
Either
okay
way.
with somebody who has a dual citizenship, but not somebody who had no citizenship and wanted to be American? Somebody comes here and they're like, I renounce across the board my Puerto Rican upbringings, bad example, Cuban upbringings, and anything you want me to do and any test you want me to take, and I'll join the military and I'll go get shot at, and I don't care. This is it for me. I want to be American. And then you have some other guy who he bought a citizenship to Romania, whatever. That guy's better
I mean, it's not
because
it's
he
not
also
better.
has
It's
an
not better or
American
worse.
citizenship, which you're yourself saying doesn't matter. The paper doesn't matter, but he matters because he has the paper that doesn't matter.
You see, you're trying to. I think you're conflating the two. If you're American and you hold an American citizenship, I guess it would, phenomenally and nominally here,
American, yeah.
the additional citizenships are irrelevant.
Oh, so you're assuming the dual citizen was an American first, and then
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
what about somebody like with an Israeli citizenship that gets an American one as well?
Obviously an issue. Obviously an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my position was that the American get an additional citizenship.
Why would you
And so-
why would you allow them to get another citizenship? Why not just say if you want to
I mean, I would prefer it not be.
why just
I don't-
not allow it and be done with it? Why allow
Not-
it? What's the advantage as an American to allowing Americans to also be something else?
I mean, there's practical applications in the world, like with flying and customs and stuff like this. I mean, the world's a large place, and you have to get around.
Real quick, circle
and
jerk. All being a citizen means is you get the amazing opportunity to pay tons of taxes to pay for Juan and Shaniqua to live for free. Overrated. That's what it's come to mean. Yeah, sorry, Zeb, didn't mean to cut you off.
And I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I would concede this position too. I'm not married to it, but I largely I don't really care that much if an American has an additional citizenship. Now, I do care if a I don't know, you'd say the Israeli. I mean, I do care if a Nigerian or
Yeah.
an Indian or
Which one comes first matters.
That's exactly right, and that's what they are, right? This and Elon found this out firsthand with his XAI, right? He brought over these Chinese, what were they, coders? What's he do? He steals XAI, the entire code, and uploads it to ChatGPT. Why? Because he is not American, and so just because he held the citizenship doesn't mean
By your rules, Elon's not American either. So
correct. Elon is actually here, from my understanding. Elon's here illegally, and I've called to deport him multiple times. So he can go back to South Africa. He left South Africa. Why? Because they invaded. His father came over here because they were getting invaded from the north in South Africa. Same thing with Peter Thiel. I mean, all these guys they're all the same, man.
dual citizenship got abused. This is Jones Knit. Dual citizenship got abused by our very own Congress. It should be abolished. Nobody in government should have dual citizenship, period. Well, nobody in government, yeah, that's a different question.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would all agree on that. Any government position should never have dual citizenship.
To me, if like, okay, you're some American contractor in Romania for whatever reason, really needs you to go work there, and they say, well, you have to become a citizen here for it to make sense for us legally. I'd just be like, nah, just create some other category for Americans working there. They don't need to be a fucking citizen. They're Americans are not dual citizens. We can. I feel
Okay,
like
that's fine.
we drive that conversation.
Well, I mean, you could easily fix that. You could just be the American bully that we ought to be and say, no, Romania, we are the world standard. All the Romanians, if they want to come to America, they need to work.
Well,
They
you
need
should
citizenship,
reciprocate
and we'll
that if
go.
for some reason we needed some Romanian person to do something, we'd allow them to come do it, but they wouldn't become a fucking citizen. You know, you're hiring,
Sure, yeah.
you know, just because a fucking football team drafts a quarterback doesn't mean he goes and lives with the coach's family.
Was that shots fired at somebody?
No,
Is
I
that a
just
story I missed.
no, no. That was just. I'm just like maybe football teams are a good model for all of this. You got the owner, you got the coach, and you got the players, right? So you can draft a player without him coming to live in your house. That's allowed.
I think that gets out of hand really quick, though.
You just pay him and then tell him to fuck off when he's not.
Well, and I mean, I guess you're arguing for like an H-1B system.
Say you
It just gets abused.
I agree. There's no system that will survive the corruption of people. We're not computers. We're not transistors. We take input from our surroundings and give imperfect output. Even when you're well intentioned, your fucking output is not computationally rigorous. You're just doing your best. And so, like, we talked about this, I think, on the last live stream we did, but the whole reason that whole, you know, any system of government periodically will require the blood of patriots and tyrants, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There just isn't a fucking, you can't just write a list of rules and then say, everybody follow these rules and have it work. And the reason is because people don't fucking do that. That's just not reality.
Well, especially when the foundation of the country is built upon something that can be amended and just changed over time, right? It'll be usurped by infiltrators. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. There's something else I've been playing with recently, and it may be a political theory that already exists, so I might be kind of overstepping here, but I think, at least from what I can tell, all governments eventually turn authoritarian, and I think they necessarily have to. Kind of in the same vein that you're talking here, is that the people cannot govern themselves, and if it's allowed, then the authoritarianism at the end is what is necessary to rein those people in. The question is, what does that authoritarianism actually look like? Does it look like a 1492 Franco Spain, or does it look like a 1930s Germany? Does it look like, I guess, what's coming here in the next, I don't know, 20, 40 years? Is it kind of the question?
I mean, I think we were talking earlier. I suspect that is the fundamental behavioral split happening now, that has happened many times before, is there's developed a subgroup, a small subgroup, maybe 5-10% of the population that has realized I can govern myself, or at least better than the current existing government. And I think in the past, that group of people would have just, like, the majority would have been like, we'll go 7 miles that way where nothing exists for 1 billion miles and just start your own thing. And it all worked out great. But now that, you know, as places get filled up, there's really nowhere left to go anymore. And we're definitely in one of those time periods now where this group of people that can govern themselves better, or think they can, has nowhere to go. But that is, I mean, isn't that the fundamental concept behind a revolution? Even the American one is, hey, I think we can govern ourselves better than you guys can.
Yes. I mean, I think that is basically the fundamental aspect. But another layer to that is distance and geography. I don't think that, even with the internet and, the modern world as it is basically all interconnected. I think the distance across space is kind of complicates things exponentially. This is what you see with Rome when they got too big. I think this is
Well,
what you
yeah,
see
and I
with
mean,
the
would
American
England have held
Empire.
on to the colonies if they were like a 40-minute boat ride away? They probably would have. Like if it
Yeah,
was,
it would have been substantially easier.
yeah.
Yes, for sure. And so I think that's an aspect that
I
we need
think
to
you're
take
right. I
into
think
account.
we're realizing that we can, like, we're connected instantly right now by the internet, but that is not the same as being physically in the same place.
Correct. And you're seeing this with a lot of the trends from Gen Z, where they don't go out and socialize, but they have a social life. It's just all on the internet. This is a drop in alcohol sales to basically zero.
Yeah. Harold Reynolds II, you must be of white ethnicity of pan-Western European descent. This is what an American is. There is no others. And a landowner, right? Isn't that like the original definition?
Yeah, free landowners of white of good character.
Male, probably.
Yes.
We need stacking coins. We need no virtue. We need virtue and duty again, and we can govern ourselves again. Yeah, so this is the whole, if you want to conquer the world and you believe you can govern better than you're being governed, you first got to start with yourself. I'm not a perfect person. I'm doing tons of stupid shit. I still do. But I can only gripe so loud if I'm a pot-headed, alcoholic, porn-addicted retard. I certainly might think I can govern well, but I obviously can't even control my fucking self. So if you can control yourself, and then can you manage your family? And if you can do that, that's kind of where we get to what we're talking about. I think we need to physically figure out a way to get at least in close proximity so that it's not just this fake ecosystem or fake real estate that we own on the internet. That's not real. No trees grow there. No food grows there. No weather rains there. It's not real. It's just a little pressure release valve to make you feel like you've conquered some sort of real estate when you haven't. I mean, the servers those sites run on are located in California? It's enemy territory. It's just,
Yeah.
it's as fun as it is to build these online networks, which is very necessary, but I mean, it can be shut off at any moment for them.
That's exactly right. And so I don't know if 2, 3, 4 years ago they were talking about, oh, you don't like it. This is peak cancel culture. Oh, you don't like it. Build your own bank. Oh, you don't like it. Build your own your economic system. It's a parallel society. If you don't like it, build your own internet. Build your own website. Build your own social media. Build your own servers. Right. At a certain point, it's like you can't do that. It's quite literally not possible. And I was looking at doing a video on something like this where you're starting to see a little bit of a split coming, whether it's intentional or not, whether it's to squeeze money out of a certain group of people. I guess the prime example, the most recent example would be Sydney Sweeney and American Eagle kind of pandering to and placating to the white race or those that are racist, right? These, I have good genes. And then Gap comes out with this extreme diversity commercial kind of being the opposite of that. And so you're seeing these companies come out. I would even argue you see Cracker Barrel come out in the same vein. Bud Light kind of started it off, right? These companies are creating their own divide, if you will, and I think it's largely, this is just the marketing mind that comes with me, is that it's largely because you can't pander to an entire audience when it comes to this type of thing, and so you have to pick one.
Just make your own bank. Gaddafi. Yeah, we know how that turns.
Exactly. You can't do it at a certain point. And so, like I was saying, is these companies are picking a side necessarily because the sides are being divided. And so Gap understands that they can't play to the same market that American Eagle can play to and still make the same kind of money they are. So they, instead of riding this center that is going extinct, they have to pick a side. And that's the side that they chose.
I don't know why you texted me this John Jay quote instead of just reading it.
Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to pull it up or not.
I can't.
Okay, I'll read it. I mean, if you ask me what an American is, I think this is probably the closest that we can get right now, and I'll go ahead and read it. It says, Providence has been pleased to give this one connected country to one united people, a people descended from the same ancestors, speaking the same language, professing the same religion, attached to the same principles of government, very similar in their manners and customs, without which a common and free government would be impossible.
Oh man, I got it.
There you go. You got it pulled up.
As you finished.
It's all good. We can read it again. Chat.
Providence.
Chat. You need to memorize this. This is
descended from the same ancestors, speaking the same language, professing the same religion, attached to the same principles. This same religion thing we got to work on. It might all be Christian or whatever, but there's lots of disagreement internally there.
Yeah, there's I think we need,
Similar
me
in
and you
their
need to
manners and
have,
customs.
go
Yeah.
ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm just reading. Go.
I think that's a stream that me and you need to have, and maybe a couple of other people. I know you know that we're trying to build a team here, and I think that there is something there.
You son of a
to
bitch, I'm in.
we that we need to work on, and I don't think we need to create. I know you kind of say we need to create our new religion. I don't think it's new. I think it's old. I think we need to go back before this modern world. I mean,
Jack
let's say, I don't know, 1600s. We could
Jackdaws,
probably start there and
obedience
go
to
back.
man or institution or law only on the basis of office or title or law or tradition is nothing but foolishness. Make your way in the world as if you are on an unclear battlefield. Trust is only earned personally. Good comment. Sorry, Zeb.
Um, but yeah, I think I don't think it's new. I think it's old. I think we need to go back. I don't think I'm any smarter than the fathers that came before me that had spent a lifetime on this. I'm not saying that they can't be wrong, but I am saying that we need to take something from them and not, I guess, recreate what they've already been
Well,
through.
so I think that's, wow, this is going to get kind of, I hope this makes sense, but just like you have immigrants coming to your country of a similar age, or, you know, whether you're a kid or old or a regular adult like us, I feel like we've been excluded and treated like outsiders by the older generation also that has supposed to be part of our culture. There should have been a transfer of power by now.
Yes. Well, let me stop you real quick. There's C.S. Lewis he wrote about this, and he called them chronological snobs. And and that is what the boomer is, in spirit, is the one that disregards everything that came before them because of their arrogance. And so their chronological snobbery is what has brought on everything that comes with the modern world as you see it, because they dismiss tradition, they disrespect the culture that got them where they are now, and so now we have to re-earn our inheritance, if you will.
I think we talked about that earlier too, like the boomers post World War II, especially, and all that stuff. They came to believe that they had won. There's literally that fucking stupid book, The Greatest Generation. It's like literally
Well,
chronological.
it's arrogance embodied. I don't know how you get past this. It not only is it arrogance, it's they are unwilling to hand over the keys, and we talk about this all the time on our podcast. Is the boomer is the one that is going to go down with the ship, and so it's just like the Trump administration says, "Oh, we deported 13 people. Numbers coming across the border have shut down to zero." It's like, well, that's great, but we're at the bottom of the ocean. There's nothing it's impossible to pale out the
I want to somewhat modify the metaphor. The boomers are the ones on the ship who have a panicked heart attack and die when you hit the iceberg. We're still riding that
Yeah.
ship for like another 4 hours while it slowly sinks into the frigid Arctic waters.
Yeah, and
Hang on a goddamn door. Stupid, selfish woman of mine on a door just letting me freeze.
what's the stupid
I leave her with a $7 trillion diamond.
What's
She
that
married some
submarine that
dude, grows
imploded?
old with him, has a whole family, but I fucked her so good that one time that she throws $1 trillion of jewels into the ocean one day instead of her giving it to her kids. Sorry, I got.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're going on end of life cruises. They send all their money away, and they go on end of life cruise. I actually heard the story the other day about somebody that had a very rich uncle, wealthy uncle that went to this church, but couldn't go to church for the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years of his life. But he wrote in his will half of all of his assets go to this church. Well, this church had turned into a gay cult, if you will. And so if he was alive, he would have obviously reneged on that. But what happens, John? All of these older boomers that have in their will money going to these churches are just funding the destruction of their own children.
We have a Deacon sighting. I'm glad to see he was able to tune in today. Easy on us, boomer. Yeah,
Well,
we're obviously,
here's
and I know the Deacon knows this. We're speaking in generalities. There's plenty of great quote unquote boomers. My favorite one I know of is Pictish, was commenting earlier from Rumble.
yeah. So maybe to bring this full circle, we talk about the noumena and phenomena thing, right? I mean, I could play that in the boomer aspect too. What makes a boomer?
What is a boomer?
Phenomenally, it's quite literally the birthday.
Can you be spiritually a boomer?
Absolutely, you can.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you can.
So you
And I would say
starting to
some
believe in
boomers
this
aren't.
Numenon
I would
a
say
little bit.
I would say some boomers aren't spiritual boomers too, though. And
So
so
then
I
are they
guess
boomers?
the question is,
What are they?
does that kind of go against your numenology thing?
No, I think it fits it perfectly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like there is a table, Zeb, and it's called the boomer table. And some people are sitting there who don't belong there, and some people are sitting there who do belong there, and some people belong there but aren't sitting there. Like
Yeah.
someone who's sitting there but doesn't belong there is the old guy who's really cool, like the Deacon. Somebody who's sitting there and does belong there is just the true boomer. And then someone who ought to be there but isn't is like the 40-year-old selfish bastard who is a flaming liberal who gives his inherited $1 trillion from his parents and then gives it to the gay church on purpose.
On
He,
purpose,
he
yeah.
should be at that table, but he's only 40. So I think my fucking model is probably the most greatest and fantastic work of genius in the past 20 years, easily.
Yeah, I think we might just need a different label for what you're chasing.
Zeb, the mysterious white light of boomerism, was shining through the window, and I just held up a prism, and it split into noumenon phenomena. I said, "You're welcome.
I saw it.
You're welcome, Cambridge
it,
College of Science." Signed, Isaac Newton. I'm fucking right. I said that before, and I was right then, and I'm right about being right now. You just are struggling really hard to acknowledge that I'm right.
Well, I think an American is different. It's so much more.
Even though you started this little exchange by saying it's the same thing as what is an American is boomer, and now fucking
same concept, the same numenology.
I just flew in and did a flying shit on your face.
I already told you I would
flew across the screen and squeezed out a loaf.
I'm correct, but I would cede my position if you
loaf of poopy logic.
John, you know I'm right.
Hey, Zeb, someone who thinks they're right but is willing to concede defeat anyway, that's not an American.
I'm not conceding defeat. I'll concede to move.
It's called fear.
I'll concede to move the needle forward to win. We need to win, John.
I agree.
Winning is all that matters right now. Power is all that matters right now.
It's
Whatever.
like, Little Bear Bryant for football season. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. Isn't that what he said?
Yes, it doesn't matter. If we lose, it doesn't matter, right? If we lose, you get raped, killed, and they laugh at you while they do it. This is the problem, and everybody wants to scream and yell about principles. Well, if your principles is what causes you to lose, what's the movie? He says,
big words makes my frontal cortex so hard. You got a cortex boner? You got a coner?
What's the name of that movie?
You got a cortection? Pretty good. Proud of that one. What are you looking up?
I don't know. Actually.
What are you asking, Grok? What do I do when John Ward logically shits on my face on a live stream?
Oh, it's No Country for Old Men. He says,
sure, yeah.
If basically he says if that's what brought you here, of what good is it? And that's kind of the question we need to ask them. If we are losing, and the loss is defined by the principles, of what good are those
My
principles?
God, Zeb, you just accidentally pointed out a great example of noumenon phenomena from that movie, the coin toss scene.
I haven't watched it, actually.
You never seen that movie?
It's on the list to watch, man.
You don't know the famous fucking scene though, where he makes the guy at the gas station flip a coin for.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen the scene. I just haven't seen
at the end of that scene, the guy correctly calls it so he doesn't kill him, and the guy starts putting the coin in his pocket, and he goes, "Don't put it in your pocket, sir, or else it'll just become another coin," which it is. And he raises his eyebrows and then walks out. He's talking about nominally and phenomenally. So that's your lucky coin, phenomenally. But it's also just a coin, nominally.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great scene. So that idea is out there, even in that movie from 2000 and whatever. In fact, that movie deals a lot with those two sort of concepts and like the way things ought to be versus the way they are. And that is exactly why it's No Country for Old Men. Is that the way things actually are starting to bleed through and it's not so nice and fake anymore. And Anton Chigurh, Javier Bardem, represents the inevitability of death. Like it's just not something you can escape from. Let me find that scene real quick.
Yeah, we can watch that scene. What's chat talking about?
Let's pull it up. What's going on, chat?
John said an hour and we started arguing.
Are you still good to keep going for a little bit?
Yeah, I'm good, dude. I'm
Let me
good.
at least find this.
I want to argue with chat real quick. They're a lot easier. They're a lot easier to argue with because they're stupid.
Yeah, this is it, I think. All right, so I'm assuming most of you have probably seen this, but fuck the copyright. Let's just play the whole scene. It's a couple minutes. It's a great fucking scene.
How much?
69 cents.
And the gas.
Y'all getting any rain up here? What?
What way would that be?
I seen you was from Dallas.
Business is it of yours? Where I'm from. Friendo.
Yeah, I fucking forgot about Friendo.
I didn't mean that by it.
Didn't mean nothing.
Just passing the time. If you don't want to accept that, I don't know what else I can do for you. Will it be something else?
I don't know. Will there?
Is something wrong
What?
with anything?
Is that what you're asking me? Is there something wrong with anything?
What's the
Will
problem?
there be anything else?
You already asked me that.
Well, I need to see about closing.
See about closing.
Yes, sir.
What time do you close?
Now, close now.
Now is not a time. What time do you close?
Generally around dark. At dark.
Now is not. There's another numinal phenomenal reference.
You
Now is not a
what you're
time.
talking about, do you?
Sir?
I said, you don't know what you're talking about. What time do you go to bed?
Sir?
You're a bit deaf, aren't you? I said, what time do you go to bed?
Somewhere around 9:30. I'd say around 9:30.
I could come back then.
Why would you be coming back? We'll be closed.
Yeah, you said that.
Well, I got to close now.
You live in that house out back.
Yes, I do.
You lived here all your life.
This was my wife's father's place originally.
You married into it.
We lived in Temple, Texas.
What is an American? They're talking about that in a way now.
Raised a family there in Temple. We come out here about 4 years ago.
You married into it.
That's the way you want to put it.
I don't have some way to put it. That's the way it is.
Yeah, I gotta watch this movie for sure.
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
Sir?
The most you ever lost on a coin toss?
I don't know. I couldn't say.
Call it.
Call it. Yes. For what?
Just call it.
Well, we need to know what we're calling it for here.
You need to call it. I can't call it for you. It wouldn't be fair.
I didn't put nothing up.
Yes, you did. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it. You know what date is on this coin?
No.
1958. It's been traveling 22 years to get here. And now it's here. And it's either heads or tails. And you have to say, call it.
Well, look, I need to know what I stand to win.
Everything.
How's that?
You stand to win everything, call it.
All right. Heads then.
Well done. Don't put it in your pocket.
Sir,
Don't put it in your pocket. It's your lucky quarter.
where do you want me to put it?
Anywhere not in your pocket. Or it'll get mixed in with the others and become just a coin. Which it is.
Absolutely awesome scene, in my opinion. In a
Yep.
sense, you see the fundamental conflict going on there is Anton Chigurh, the bad guy, Javier Bardem, is the way things actually are, and then that guy's feeding him all this line of bullshit that try to paint himself in the best possible light. It hits a confrontation point where he says, you know what, fuck it, flip the coin. Well, I didn't put anything it up. You are. By being here, you're participating in this thing. And then he flips it, and then he points out the final distinction on the way out, which can kind of seem paradoxical or nonsensical or just like something fun a movie is doing. But there's a lot of meaning in that movie that's intentional and actually done appropriately, which is why it's considered such a good movie. So don't put it in your pocket or it'll get mixed in with all the others and just become another coin, which it is. Great line.
Yeah. I mean, the whole scene is phenomenal. Like I said, I am uncultured. Chat just kind of roasted me in there. I haven't seen it. There's a lot of movies I want to see that I haven't seen. But I'll move it to the top of the list just for you, chat. Obviously, shots taken to chat before we started that. If you do want to argue with me, if John don't mind, I'll plug myself real quick.
Do it.
We are Outside the Overton on YouTube. Just Google Outside the Overton. I rebranded, so don't mind that right now. You could probably Google my name and just find me, but like I said, Outside the Overton. We do live streams every day, 3 to 5. We cover everything from politics to religion to whatever culture.
Oh, you're not Zeb Boykin anymore on YouTube, though, right?
No, I am on X, and I think Rumble still. It is Outside the Overton on YouTube. I just comment in chat, and I'll post a link at the end of this if you don't mind to get y'all there. Like I said, we live stream all the time. Extremely interactive with chat, and if you want to argue, debate, whatever, please come on over.
Just want to read real quick, Deacon in the chat. Sorry I've been absent, folks. I promise I'll be back as soon as possible. Didn't mean to drop off, but family matters have taken priority for the past few weeks. Thanks for the thoughts and prayers.
What is that profile picture, dude?
Him?
Wasn't it like is that like
That's him.
Beavis and Butthead cartoon of him?
Yeah, basically. It's pretty accurate, honestly. So yeah, I could have come in last week and done a solo stream, but I decided we'll just let this stuff get under control. Zeb was kind enough to join us today. Do go argue with him. He is a smart guy. I didn't win that as bad as Zeb. Actually, maybe I did win that pretty bad. In fact, I think right before I played that scene, you and I enacted that scene, and you were the cashier.
I mean, I still disagree with you. But you know, we can
don't put that
like I said,
back in your pocket, or it'll get mixed in with all the non-Americans and become just a regular person, which it is.
Yes, correct. I guess the question, John, is can you be South African and American?
No. No, I don't think you can.
So in the same scenario that the South African moves to America, does he just not become a South African anymore?
I think the to become a true American is a choice.
And that's a big qualifier, dude.
Even if you were born here for 1,000 generations, I still think there is a point at adulthood.
So you're
well, this was codified into Western culture by things like confirmation in the Catholic Church, or a fucking
That's exactly where I was going.
A fucking
So can a child?
What do the goddamn Jews do? What's their bat mitzvah? I couldn't think of the goddamn word. Same how the Amish do Romspringa. This was just a thing that got understood by cultures before they even like really put words to it. But obviously, a small child can't make a conscious decision or an informed decision on whether or not like they want to be in your group, even though they were born there. And so the good cultures or the successful ones tended to create this sort of, phenomenal, not real, but arbitrary
let's take it.
defined points of life. You're a child and then you're an adult. And whenever you transition to adulthood, they put the question to you, is this something you want to be?
I understand your position. I disagree. And let's take it one step further. If we have someone from New York or New Jersey move to South Carolina, do they become a Southerner? I would say in the same vein, the North and the South are essentially different nations, right?
Yeah.
They can't become a Southerner. It's just not possible. Now their children could be.
I think it's possible.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
But especially if you can like learn an accent and shit. I think if I came down there to South Carolina and was like, "Hey y'all,"
even with an accent, I don't think it's there.
I don't think it's there, even with the accent.
Nope.
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 Nope. Nope. Nope.
You need more ebonics, John. You gotta get a little deeper in the throat and get it to come out. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Pause.
I said the same thing. I just said the politically incorrect version of it. Yeah, so it's, again, I think it depends. Like if I were to move to South Carolina, no, I probably wouldn't even try to become Southern. I wouldn't like pretend to be something I wasn't. And I feel like my identity is pretty set in stone because I'm very much an adult at this point by a good 20 years. But 20 years ago, I think if I had moved there at 20, by 40, I would have been pretty Southern. Now it would be dependent on my intent, and no one could ever know that but me. But I could really want to be accepted and seen as a Southerner. And then it's a question of, am I actually pulling that off to the point where you guys can't tell the difference? And then I'd say, yeah, I probably am. Trannies are kind of like this too, aren't Zeb? So like, is saying you're a woman make you a woman? No, obviously not. Maybe that's a good model to use as trans.
Yes, the biological argument is it does parallel the question that we're asking right now, but it's not close enough to use as a foundation for the
in
argument.
that sense, your biological sex is the noumenal part, right? You are it's something set in stone.
I would even say the biological aspects are on a spectrum. And I know Chat's going to come at me on that one
like
too.
XXY and that kind of stuff. You mean?
I mean, now your parts aren't going to be on a spectrum, not in the same way that
technically they kind of can be sometimes with hermaphrodites.
They can be, yeah.
It's malformed, right? It's
sure.
It's not.
I guess we're not. I mean, we're speaking in generalities, but I think women produce. Some women produce more testosterone than others do, right? I mean,
in my model with the trannies, quickly, you have the table of the people at the table are women. You have a bunch of people sitting there. There's people that are biologically women and also believe they're women. Those are the true women. And then you have people that are biologically women but think they're a man. And then you have people that are, biologically a man but think they're a woman. So there's really only one of those categories that's a true woman, and it's the one that's both. Did I just solve all of human history forever?
You're such a genius, John. I'm so glad that we were graced with your presence.
Am I the smartest guy who's ever lived?
Well, this is the thing.
There's some utility to it. I mean, if you can apply these different.
No, there is some utility to it, but I guess what I'm trying to get at, and the same thing that is a religious argument. The problem is the complexities with each of these arguments adds more to what is the table. What is the seat at the table?
Your job as a thinker is we're trying to carve away stuff, not add stuff. So like,
and what I'm saying is that everybody had it figured out up until like 100 years ago.
I don't know that I agree. I think it just wasn't enough of a problem to need to define it.
Now, this is something that I would say that the problems that we are presented with today are definitely different problems than they've had in the past, and we have to tackle them in a different way. But that isn't to say that they didn't have the tools to solve that problem at their disposal.
What would be worth looking at is late state Roman Empire, because that's probably when the question of what is a Roman became relevant. There was an early history where I wouldn't say they had it figured out what a Roman was. It just like they didn't even need to think about it because it was just so fucking obvious.
Well, they were perfectly fine with having a two-tier society, right? This is the entire reason that Christ was crucified, because he fell under Roman rule, though he wasn't a Roman. This is why the Jews weren't able to stone him, because he was a Roman. He fell under Roman rule, but he wasn't a Roman citizen. See, this is the thing, is that we are incapable of applying a caste system, if you will, from India into America, because we have been beaten into us that all men are created equal. That's been beaten into us, and it's been taken out of context. And so if we were able to apply a caste system, I think that would solve a lot of the problems, but I will take a lot of flack for saying that.
I think the obvious problem there is who gets to apply the system. That can make
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the question, I mean, the people that are in charge now, we would say, well, probably shouldn't have that power. And the answer to that is essentially who has the force, who has the will to do it.
And then I would also further argue, Zeb, that a caste system, even if the right people were around to apply it right now, within 100 or 200 years, it would not be the right caste system. There is no system. I'm going to stand by that statement. It would go to all systems go to shit. All human systems.
Sure. I mean, they need to be revised. I don't know, every 200 to 400 years.
Do you think it's possible that there could be a slice of American history where a caste system would be the best, and then there's a slice where having a king would be the best, and then there might be a slice where having a democracy would be the best?
I would agree with the first two.
Okay, but
I don't think the second is a feasible government, period.
Fair enough. But I mean, like, so there even that is sort of implicitly acknowledging that there is no one system that as society evolve, like, okay, let's say we believe in that weak men, strong times, hard men, gay trannies cycle, right? That each of those 4 stages, you'd be better off with a certain system. When everybody is strong, a democratic republic actually works pretty well. The OGTLT, the problems we have today are the exact same problems as antiquity. Authoritarianism is inversely proportional to currency debasement, and degenerates are a hallmark of an empire in free fall. Very much late stage Rome. What are you fucking laughing at over there, Zeb?
Mojack said, can you pull his comment up? He said, and today's generation is not arrogant, really, Zeb. I guess I would ask what specifically would make that arrogant. I think
he's probably alluding to, Zeb, the thing all old man realizes, that all men of our age think they know better than old men. That's a tried and true cycle. You're not the first 30.
I mean, I'm just parroting people older than Mojack.
It doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean you're wrong. And then I'm inclined to believe you're right, or at least almost entirely right, and are trying to genuinely work it all out. But like, that's everybody our age hits a point where they start thinking they can do better than the old guys, whether they can or not. Sometimes
and they did the same. And they did the same thing to the
exactly right. Great, yeah, exactly.
But the problem is that we have receipts for them, and we have receipts for their fathers and their fathers and their fathers, and I can take those receipts and apply what was applied then and say, okay, democracy obviously doesn't work in any aspect. If it's a representative democracy in a multicultural society, it is quite literally impossible. It can't happen. You can't have a multicultural society be represented by a very, very small amount of people. The math just doesn't work. And that's even assuming that democracy works on its face, which it doesn't. It's not arrogant. I don't think it's arrogance. I would prefer to be wrong, actually. I would prefer to not be correct, but the problem is that reality has hit us in the face so hard in the last 20 years that to recover from that, it's going to take someone that is arrogant in that they are taking reality as it is and just accepting it.
I think that's Emerson and self-reliance. Self-reliance can appear as arrogance when it's not, and being a strong-willed person will always make weak-willed people feel insecure around you. And so that's the question. Are you doing 2016 version of Trump, which can seem arrogant but really isn't? or are you one of those classic young guys who thinks he knows better and doesn't?
No, I mean, I genuinely wish I was wrong. I really wish I was wrong. It would make, yeah, I would prefer to be wrong. Is it David Oberg, fucking whatever his name is? Yeah, I mean, I would, because the reality is so
Don't get
bleak.
emotional, Zeb.
It's so dark that
Don't get emotional. Don't let that chat get under your skin.
I would prefer to be able to unify under a multicultural, multiracial society, but it's just not how things work.
There needs to be some form of. Do you think a multiracial or even gendered, like men and women, can exist coherently together?
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, I think multiracial societies can exist, but it necessarily is going to require some separation, right? This is what the colonies were. This is what colonization is. I mean, the entire British Empire built that on the I mean, they're the greatest civilization in the history of the world, right? And they were a multiracial society, if you want to call it that. But yes, men and women are complementary, and they can exist together and should exist together. But I think these are two separate questions.
Where was Stacking Coins had a comment I wanted to pull up here if it's moving too fast. He was just saying, if anybody's offended in the chat, Stacking Coins had pointed out, we're talking in generality. So, I mean, I know the Deacon, for example, was not sitting in the White House as a boomer one day 30 years ago making all these decisions. And if he had his way, a lot of this shit wouldn't have happened. So we get that. Jamaican me want to watch Anderson. He's telling us to wrap it up. We are getting pretty close. Zeb, appreciate you being willing to talk about this stuff and enjoying the good-natured fun we're poking at you. I certainly don't believe I'm actually right about any of this stuff, even though I am.
Yeah, right, John. John's probably more right than I am. He's smarter than I am. I'll defer to him.
Zeb, my life is just telling people, yeah, your idea is great. Yeah, think about that for a while. We'll talk later. And then just working, just chipping away at your tard brain. Just me with a little chisel, just chopping that tard off. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's fantastic what you're doing, and you're so much better at it than most people your age. And so I think if we can figure out how to continue having these conversations, we should. So again, we never write shit down, which is my fault. But stuff like, can you be a dual citizen? If you commit treason, are you still an American? Like, it's, again, we opened our mind. We need to close it on something solid. We need to start figuring out what are the things out there that we all can agree on, or the shit you and I can say, and everybody in the chat except for the trolls will be like, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And maybe we get to the end of that scientific experiment and we find we're fucked. Like we all have deal breakers that we can't agree with each other on. Maybe that's what we find out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we had a good conversation today. We're not going to agree on everything like you just said, but we can agree on the vast majority of it. And just like I said, I'm perfectly willing to cede certain points that we disagree on, as long as they're not practical issues and bumps in the road when we
got to figure that. What are the practical? I mean, that's the whole point.
I mean, I don't think we're even there to even have that discussion yet, right? And so people ask me all the time, is like, okay, what would you do with the people that consider themselves FBAs in this concept of foundational Black Americans? First of all, they don't consider themselves American, and so neither do I. And I think this is an understanding that we both have. And so the question is, what do you do with them? And I would say, at this point, I don't even care. They're so far down the priority list that we can't. That's not even a conversation to be had anymore, right? We got to deal with the illegals. We got to deal with
the operational or functional part of it, where this is why it's a problem that we're not all living in the same place, because we probably all live in places where people like that have sway over things that affect our lives. And so if we lived in a homogenous group and our local government was from that homogenous group, we could erase all those stupid problems. But as it stands right now is, we may have this homogenous internet space starting to form. But all those people, FBAs, you called them, like I was going to fucking know what that meant.
I said
Oh,
foundational.
FBAs, huh?
I told-
Yeah, wow.
I told you what they were. The foundational Black Americans. They consider themselves that, and they I mean, in the name foundational Black Americans, they believe they built America, right?
John.
This is a fundamental disagreement that we have because they live in African time or something like that. I don't know what's going on.
Circle Jerk has me pegged down pretty good here. John is loving stroking his ego like a villain strokes his cat. A true master debater such as yourself should be celebrated. I almost brought Orange Cat. Good. You know, the cats might reappear here in the near future.
I guess the question is, how many do you need for a circle jerk, John?
How many
You probably
cats?
have an answer for that. No, how many?
0.
How many Johns do you need for a circle jerk?
I got
One?
Me and my 7 septuplets that all pretend to be the same person get together once in a while and we do the septa jerk.
Do you have siblings?
The Jews do something similar. Do I have yeah, I got 7 twin brothers that look exactly like me, and we all we rotate through this like it's the fucking Prestige.
Dude,
Don't you remember when you
imagine
came up
having-
here and you were talking to me and I didn't remember any of the shit we had talked about on the phone? That was one of my fucking brothers.
I believe it, dude. I believe everything you say, John.
You're kind of believing it a little bit, I can tell. You're like, fucking what? What?
I believe it, dude.
No, I'm just one person. I know. I appreciate you selling the fact that I'm actually not anybody at all. That you came up here and I was like Wizard of Oz for you. You pull the curtain aside.
Yeah, John's not real, guys. That's the. Hey, did you? Real quick side note.
The show's ending soon, I promise.
There's a video floating around from like 10 years old from Snowden where he was basically giving a speech inside of the quote unquote prison or wherever he was held up at, and it was AI. It was very, very good AI, but there was one fold in his collar that unfolded on camera that kind of gave it away.
Oh.
That was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was very, very much easily,
I wrote that software.
this isn't real. A woman wrote that software, John.
It's a
Everybody knows women created everything.
The FBA wrote that software.
For sure. They created everything, dude.
Yeah, right after they landed on the moon. Jesus. There's no KFC on the moon, so I don't buy it. Wow, that was really racist.
Well, the moon's not real either, so.
The moon's also not real. It's a watermelon.
It's a wheel of cheese. Where did that even come from? Where'd the moon cheese come
It
from?
kind of fucking looks like cheese, I'm guessing. I mean,
Like Swiss, got a bunch of holes in it.
yeah, like that must be cheese. Imagine living in how those simple times. Like, what's that fucking thing that flies by every day? It's probably cheese. It's probably cheese. Just not
Cheese in the sky.
fucking cavemen. They're like caught in a bear,
Dude,
eating it and shit.
Imagine
Oh,
how
look,
much simpler. Imagine how much simpler life would be,
there goes
dude.
the cheese and the lights. The lights are going by again. And there's the cheese. There's the wheel on the chariot, and then there's the cheese.
Yeah.
Someday I'll care about this, but right now I'm fighting 7 bears with a stick, and so not high on my priority list. On that note, as the cheese enters the sky, as we enter into the PM here, the PM post-meridian, a term developed by FBAs to talk about time. Since they can't talk about the future, they have to use meridians as references. I'm tying all the jokes together as we finish this up. No, thank you very much, Zeb, for joining us. As you guys saw, the Deacon in the chat, hopefully maybe you caught my little thing at the beginning, but we will get him back as soon as we can. Do throw your prayers out for him if you can. I know it was a little non-standard show today coming back after the 2-week break, but we should be back every Sunday from here on out. Kind of lost my voice a little bit too, as you can tell. But Zeb, I hope you'll come back with us. Check Zeb out on Outside the Overton one more time. Anywhere else? Zeb Boykin on X.
Yeah. Just Google me, you'll find me. Zeb Boykin on X, Zeb Boykin on Rumble. We're probably going to change over that here pretty soon. But it'll be under Outside the Overton on YouTube.
Outside the Overton.
Yep. We go every day live, 3 to 5-ish. Interactive with chat. So anybody who wants to disagree with me in chat today, please jump over there and find me so we can actually have a discussion. And I can tell you you're wrong. So
there you go. It was a great chat. Chat, you are excellent as always. Also appreciate all the shit talking and genuine, good, smart thoughts that we always have. I know we're not doing call-ins today. We'll get back to that next week. I promise. Stacking Coins, thank you. Good to see you. That was Close 667. What's going on? Appreciate you being here. Circle Jerk with the year membership is always good to have you. Real Rationalist, good to see you. Dude, check it out. Mike G's, David Oler King, always good to have you. OGTLT, good to see you again. Drakenwolf, Nico Blico is back. Jack Dawes was back. Linda Love was in the house. What's going on? Sigma Chaos, that was close. I got you already. So if I didn't catch you, hopefully I talked to you earlier, like Jones Knit, etc. Thank you again, Zeb. And as always, that is it for today. I'm John Ward. Until next time, remember, you are a numinal and phenomenal world champion. Hey-o! Don't let your memes be dreams. Oh, I have a song.